Pull out your hose and grab your can. We're about to integrate another Pest Geek podcast. Hi, everybody. Frank Hernandez here, and welcome to the Pest Geek podcast, bringing you the latest information on pests, products, and politics from today's leading industry sources to help you start, manage, and grow your pest control business. Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to this edition of the Pest Geek podcast. I am Frank Hernandez, your Pest Geek, and I've got a very good interview today with Andrew Taweel of RingBoost. But before that, I wanted to cover a couple of things with you guys and bring you up to date. The Pest Geek Academy is coming along. However, it is taking a lot longer than we thought. We're still recording classes. We're still dealing with quizzes and setting up that infrastructure. So bigger undertaking than I thought. But that is coming, so stay tuned to that. You can always find out what is happening with that class or the lessons that we're putting up at the Academy by going to pestgeekpodcast.com and going to training. There you will find the Academy that is being built. And so we're working on that infrastructure, but this is a little bit more than I anticipated originally to get all this done. So letting you know about that. Also, hey, if you guys appreciate what we're doing here, you appreciate what I'm doing, what Stephen Van Tassel is doing, trying to bring you the best free content and be the world's #1 pest control training podcast that is free. If you enjoy it, hey, would you consider donating, supporting us? It's easy. Just go to pestgeekpodcast.com, hit the donate button, and whatever you feel that this podcast is worth to you, go ahead and support us. We would greatly, greatly appreciate it. And without further ado, here is our guest. All right, I have Andrew Taweel with RingBoost on the phone. Hey, Andrew, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Frank. Thanks for having me, man. Good to be here.
Good, bro. So we chatted a little bit a couple of weeks ago about what you guys did, and I was looking into this, and so I'm not going to give too much away, but I've been looking at this for a while, and you gave me a bunch of options of how to go about it, but I wanted you to talk to the audience about what it is that you do and what is that your company does and how could it benefit the pest control industry. But before that, just tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. Well, just so you know who I am, my background's in sales and marketing for the last 20 years, predominantly working with small business owners. So I've done everything from developing and growing franchise operations in the restaurant category to working in merchant services, credit card processing. Probably had your door knocked on by guys like me almost every day if you have a small business. I've worked in, marketing and advertising, sales for everything from small business owners up to Fortune 500 companies. And then also developing my own marketing campaigns for different brands, different opportunities, everything from individual products up to sports marketing packages for global brands. So, now I've landed at RingBoost, which is a division of Primary Wave Media. Primary Wave Media does licensing of music catalogs for movies, TV, and commercial. And then RingBoost has been around for 20 years. RingBoost specializes in custom phone numbers for businesses. So we do everything from providing business owners, small and mid-sized businesses, and some national brands with everything from toll-free numbers for marketing campaigns to branding their phone number, to local vanity numbers, easy dial patterns to capture and convert business. We do tracking services where we can, have numbers for your campaigns. Say you're doing an outdoor campaign on billboards or direct mail, where we can capture the response in different marketing in different areas where you're trying to market to new customers and tell you where your dollars are best being spent. And we also have the ability to get people numbers in exhausted area codes or Basically, that's where an area code is no longer available through your carriers. Best example is the 212 in New York, which is a highly in demand area code, especially for people in business industries like finance and insurance, where they want to present themselves as being a long-standing business with deep roots in the community and having to give themselves a more professional profile. So if you are in area codes like 212, 305, 303, places where your carrier will not be able to get you a phone number with that area code, sometimes there's limited inventory, but we can probably give you your best chance of getting a number with that specific area code.
Right.
So essentially what we do is just try to give you the best opportunity to by your phone number to make yourself more recognizable in your marketplace, more memorable to potential customers, more memorable for when potential customers or existing customers come up in conversation with their friends or colleagues about a service that they need, and they say, "Hey, I remember hearing this number or seeing this ad. Here's the number. Give them a call."
Right.
That's what we do. It's very simple, and what we found is it's probably one of the highest returns on investment for a low cost investment to market your business that we can that's probably out there.
All right, so let's take this because that's a lot. I mean, you do a lot of. I never knew. I didn't stop to think for 1 minute that there were so many things to do with a phone number.
Yeah. So, you guys, you and a bunch of other guys probably see me like putting up silly memes on our Facebook group with movie images and silly quotes about memorable numbers. And that's kind of phase one. That's what I just started here. We've really not done much outbound. Most of our business has been people needing us for their business, looking out for us, looking into the getting a phone number and finding us.
Right.
So I've been brought on to get our services and our company name out there so people know who we are, that we become a household name for small business owners across the country, for their marketing agencies that do their campaigns, put their campaigns together, so that we are the premier go-to service for phone numbers.
Gotcha. So let's talk about my situation and what we were discussing. I've been thinking for a long while about doing, a vanity number type, like, 1-800-GOT-BUGS,
Sure.
We know about 1-800-GOT-JUNK. I mean, that one is probably the most brandable one I remember from the marketplace. And let's talk about the options, because you gave me a bunch of options. And some from anywhere from buying out the numbers to leasing the numbers. Explain that scenario. Somebody who says, "Hey, I've got 305 got bugs," and we talk about exhausted numbers because here Miami, 305 is exhausted. You get basically you're at 786 and 794. 954 is exhausted. So let's break these two apart for a second to help them understand. Sure. If you want a vanity number, you've been thinking about that. Yeah, I want to get a 1-800-GOT-BUG or 305, pest or whatever. Talk about the options on that. What's the deal there?
Okay. So, and it's great that you mentioned 1-800-GOT-JUNK. That was actually, it's the most well-known home service franchise probably out there in the market today. And it's actually one of our clients. So, it's a tremendous story. And when it comes to the 800 vanity numbers, let me just rewind a little bit and talk about the difference between the toll-free vanity number versus the local vanity number.
Okay.
So the local vanity number is when you want to target a specific region. So if you're in Miami, you want to target all the area codes in Southern Florida.
Right.
All right. And you want to start specifically with the Miami metro region.
Okay.
So, and it's basically if you want to stay in that market and you want to live within that market, we can get you a local vanity number with the 305 area code or whatever one of the new ones are, depending on which part of Miami you live in.
Okay.
With a vanity phrase number that you think appeals to you, that you think will connect best with potential clients in your market. And what that does is a couple of things. First of all, the great thing is it's a one-time purchase as a local vanity number. It could be anywhere depending on the pattern of number for the exchange and the area code. It could range anywhere from $100 up to a couple of $1,000, depending. You know, if it's if you're looking at like a 243 pest, it could be in 305. You're looking at maybe a few $100. If it's one of the new overlay area codes, then it could be maybe $100 or $200. If it's something that says 305-888 pest, then you're maybe looking closer to the $1,000+ range. But the good thing is it's a one-time cost. If it's something that's in the $1,000 range, and it's something that you want to get, but you don't have the money for right away, you can set up a payment plan. Once the payments are complete, we can structure it in months, quarters, however you want to do it as your revenue comes in to make it easier for you to purchase the number. And then once it's paid in full, it's kind of like number layaway.
Right.
The number is yours. We get it. We put it over to you so you can have it ported by your cell carrier or your landline carrier for your business line.
Okay.
You can have it replace your existing number. A lot of people don't like to do that. Or you can create a whole new line and have that ported as your new business number. And then it's off and running. You can use that to market your website on your website, on your T-shirts, your business cards, your billboards if you pay for signage, radio spots, TV spots on your trucks, everywhere you want. You want to put a head of tattoo on your forehead and run around town,
Right.
It's yours to do what you want with, and it's yours forever. The only thing we need to remind people of is if you change your phone carrier, make sure that you call us so we can advise you on how to get the number sent over to the new carrier, because a lot of the times people ignore the phone number part of it when they switch carriers,
right,
and they lose their vanity number. So
gotcha.
It goes back into the pool. So that's a local vanity number, one-time cost, targeted market, and it's yours forever, and it can be used in a variety of ways for your marketing purposes.
Okay.
Right, and at the same time, just the obvious is that if you've got a guy who's got a pest control business and he's down the road from you, and his number is 305, 724-8396, and yours is 305, 355 pest, people are going to remember that number if you market it properly. Right. People are going to remember that number over the other person's. When it comes time to refer a service to a friend who has a pest problem, they're going to remember that. So for a few $100, you could probably make that or get your return on investment or a break even in one or two residential appointments. And then going forward after those first couple of appointments, depending on what you charge or how big the job is, it's straight profit for as long as you're in business after that.
Right. Okay.
All right. So that's local.
That's okay.
Right. The toll-free vanity number is a little different. So when I talk to people about toll-free vanity numbers, there's two ways I approach it with them. The first being, if you have growth, if you dream of growing beyond your marketplace, and that's where I go back to the 1-800-GOT-JUNK guys. These guys started as an independent owner operator of a junk haul of a refuse business.
Right.
But what they said to themselves from day one is when they put together their business plan and their marketing plan, they said, we want to grow this. We envision our business being a national brand or even a statewide brand or a multi-state brand. And what they said was, in order to do that, we need to make it seem like we're not a local guy. We need to make it seem like we are a big operator. So they got a toll-free service, a toll-free number, and toll-free numbers can be pure 1-800 numbers that are very rare these days. There's a lot of different exchanges now. You'll see 877, 888, 833, 855, 844. That's because there's so many people using toll-free numbers. What you do with this is that we license these numbers out to a business owner. And you can license them out either by region with specific area codes where you're paying per marketplace, and the cost varies per demand of that marketplace. So 212 and a 9973, an exhausted area code is going to have more demand and a higher cost. And also the type of the number, if it's a number that's in high demand or phrase that's in high demand, that drives the cost up. So you'll see a lot of companies now that will do their phone number and their vanity phrase as part of their website, and they'll make that their whole number.
Gotcha.
And with that, you can get probably a better price on the number, but the cost range anywhere. They start usually at $20 a month to lease a number, and then they go up. So they can. It all depends on the desirability of the number, the desirability of the area code. If you want to be local, regional, national, multi-state, etc. So we have people paying $20 a month. We have people paying $300 a month. To license a number. We have people paying thousands of dollars a month. Some law firms will pay thousands of dollars a month to license a number. So it all depends. What it does, the good thing is it's month to month. So if the number's not working out, and you want to get rid of it, then try something new, then you have that flexibility. If you're growing and you're a small business operator, you want to get a good number, but you don't want to lay out the $500 to $1,000 for a local vanity number. Maybe you want to, but you have plans for growth. Maybe you want to get a toll-free number with a vanity phrase. Start out by licensing it just for your immediate local area codes. And then as business grows and you have more money to invest, you slowly and gradually expand your markets and you start licensing that same number in additional area codes. So it grows with your business and it's not, doesn't impede anything, your growth cost-wise, so that you grow organically. And that's another way. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility. It's just a different option. But the good thing is that if you're operating out in more than one state, a lot of people, when you call them or when people look for a business, they feel more comfortable calling either an area code that's local to them, or they feel the comfort in calling a national brand where they see an 800 number as that.
Right.
So if you're going to operate outside of your state, an 800 number might be the way to go. Or even if you're going to operate in a different part of your state that has different area codes, you're in Florida. If you're operating in 305, you want to expand to Tampa, people in 727 are probably going to say, why would I call somebody with a 305? But if they see that it's an 800 number, it puts their mind at ease. It shows them that you're, either a franchise operation or a national service that provides consistency, professionalism, maybe has customer service, and or a complaint desk or something that they can reach back out to and have some sort of recourse as a consumer.
Right. So it's really going to depend on your marketing strategy and also your long-term growth strategy. So if you want to always appear like you want to be the local guy, like, two guys in a truck, they want to appear that they're local and they're independently owned and operated, you stay with your local number. If you want to say, hey, I want to be a big guy and I want to look like a big guy because I'm targeting that market, I'm selling convenience, I'm selling ease, whatever that, whatever your brand and marketing strategy is going to be, that's what you need to consider when going with one of these options.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead.
I'm sorry. One other thing I forgot to mention about toll-free numbers. If you're a home service company and you have plans of growing and franchising out your brand, the toll-free number is great because what the 1-800-GOT-JUNK guys do is kind of like the model for how a lot of franchises operate now. What they do is they have their 800 number, it's 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Whatever market they have franchisees in, when someone calls that number, it channels to the main number, and then that way they book the appointment for their franchisees. All invoicing goes through the home office. So they have complete control. They know in terms of accounts receivable, booking, revenue, everything. So it lets them know what is going on with each market, where they can work with their franchisees, there's no hiding revenue or cash or anything. So everything they have, it gives you control over the expansion and growth of your franchise operation.
Gotcha. Yeah. And that's always a concern with franchises is the leakage of if somebody hiding the money not to pay the fees.
Exactly.
So by them being able to do it this way, they got total control. Makes sense. Cause I mean, I know they're, I know they do one day painting and they got 1-800-GOT-JUNK. I mean, they're kind of a little conglomerate of the service industry. So that's pretty neat. You also mentioned, so you got the leasing of the numbers, you got the buying of the numbers. what about for somebody who's doing? I'll give you an example of something that we need to do. We need to track our marketing.
Yep.
And we need to say, okay, we're going to do an ad campaign for mailers. And we got it all coming into one number, but we want to be able to track how many calls we're getting on the mailers, how many calls we're getting from the, let's say, Facebook ads, or from tracking from a phone number. And do you guys do that kind of stuff?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And so for tracking numbers, it's very interesting. I've been learning a lot recently about tracking numbers. I've been talking to billboard companies, outdoor marketing companies, direct mail companies all over the country. And what I've found is this. So tracking number is just a phone number. It can be any number, and it's put into a place where it's going to get a response to measure where your marketing dollars are spent, or how they're being spent, and where they're getting their most return on investment. Now, from our perspective, tracking number typically is just a random number. There's a pool of numbers that's out there that are just generic numbers that anybody can get, that a lot of these tracking services provide. They're very inexpensive, and people will use them for their coupon direct mail campaigns, their door tags, put on billboards, put on their radio and TV spots. And they use them to capture response, to see like who's calling for what. And it's, let's say hypothetically you want to run a coupon campaign where you've got direct mailers going out to 5 different zip codes in your region. And you can do a couple of things. You can get a different tracking number for each zip code. And then whatever response comes through, when someone calls that number or provides a coupon code from that number, they will, it'll register as that's where the response came from.
Right.
What we can do, and we can do that too, but what we prefer to do is to get you something that either has an easy dial pattern or a catchphrase that might be a little more expensive than your average tracking number, but at the same time will get you a tremendous amount more response. Because what is a marketing campaign if you don't have response?
Right.
And the more response you get, the more business you get. So why wouldn't you do whatever tactic you can use to get more response? So you can use any number. You can use your toll-free number, your toll-free vanity number. You can use your local easy dial pattern number. You can use your local vanity number. You can use a random local number or a random toll-free number. Typically, a lot of companies, they like to use a series of toll-free numbers because they can license them for a period of time for which the campaign's running. Some companies prefer to use their vanity numbers so that if there's good response within that market, then they own that number and they can market that number fully in that area.
Got it. Now, let me ask you this. When it comes to, let's say, here's another big one that we're trying to figure out how we manage. And I don't know if you guys do this or if you have an idea. We got so many phone numbers and we've got so many cell numbers out there. Right now we own about 5 phones for the company, and calls are coming in from all over the place.
Yeah.
Call recording for customer service on mobile.
Yep.
That's a big one for us right now because the technicians are getting calls from the customer directly, and they're like having to answer questions. And how do we use that information in the field to be able to do more customer service training, saying, hey, I listened to that call, you handled that properly, but here's where you messed up.
Sure.
Because we know it happens. The call says, I'm not going to call the company, I'll just call the text because he always answers me quicker. And then, so do you guys have a service like that?
Yeah, absolutely. We can offer call recording, call tracking, all the things you just mentioned. We provide. So we're a full service company, and the great thing is with us is that when you call us, you get a live person on the phone. We are a lot of our competitors are strictly software companies or tech companies that created algorithms that let you go on and do everything yourself. So you go on, you get a number. And and like I said, it's maybe easy to use, but at the same time, what we like to think is that, we feel that customer service is important. We feel that we understand that not everybody understands what to do with a phone number after they lease it or buy it.
Right.
And that's why we're here. We're here to help you, to instruct you, to guide you so that you're optimizing the usage and the ease of use of the numbers that you license and purchase from us, and also the services that you get. So we try to explain everything as thoroughly as possible. I know personally, for any clients I deal with, I make myself available to them 24/7 because I know all problems do not happen between 9 and 5, Monday through Friday. So, it's for us, customer service is the biggest thing. Right. Service-wise, everything that I've mentioned, everything that you just asked about are services that we do provide. On RingBoost.com, you can go on and look at all of our entire suite of services. You can even go through our system and look for numbers that you may be interested in in your area, toll free and local. It's yes. So the short answer is yes, we do have all those services. The long answer is everything I just
said. Yeah. No, that's cool because there's so many things that people don't know that they can do, with phones. And do you guys have you guys gotten into voice over IP call management?
So yeah, we partner with voice over IP companies all over the place. One of our biggest partners is phone.com. So RingCentral, phone.com. We work with everybody. So gotcha. RingBoost is the original company in the phone number industry. We've been doing this for 20 years. Our owner and founder and president, Paul Faust, has organized and led forums, three summit forums for the industry over the years, where by doing that, we've been able to network with our competitors, with our carrier partners, with our voice over IP partners, to share our inventory, to have access to their inventory, to create a portfolio of service partners and networks that we can provide such a wide variety and suite of products to any type of business out there that it's almost funny that when we're sitting here in the office, we're thinking, we're selling phone numbers, but at the same time, what we're really doing is just helping businesses to grow a little bit more than if they didn't have a good number. Right. Because think about it, for a local operator, for a local pest control business, it's $300. What is that? It's maybe one job, right?
In the grand scheme of things, it's not a whole lot.
Right, and in the long term, that's a $300 investment, which is maybe the cost of that one job that one day. But if that brings you, 10, 20 new customers a year, 3 or 4 new customers a month, whatever it may be, that's thousands and thousands of dollars returning on your $300 investment every year. And a lot of those are repeat customers, right. And you can use these. We've talked about so many different ways of targeting local and commercial business that the phone number can be used with little bits of swag. We talked about marketing to networking and marketing with local PTAs, where, you can get invited to their monthly meetings and network with all the parents in your community and do leave behinds, with keychains that have your business name and number and website on them, with T-shirts, with little wine glasses, whatever it may be, that you can put your number on. It's a marketing tool that costs you an insignificant amount of money. And I don't mean to say insignificant that it's not that much money for everyone, because for some people, any dollar spent is a dollar of concern. Right. But in just plain talk, $300 in the scope of doing business is not a big investment. And what you get for that $300 can go a long way. If you're licensing a number for $20, $30 a month, it's not a huge amount of money to put out every month. And if that can get you, if that $20, $30 a month can get you one client with a $300 job, that's a 10x return on investment. So when you look at it for what you're spending and what you're getting, and where where you're using this in terms of your marketing strategy and execution, where it's going on everything that has your business name on it, it just seems like like a why wouldn't you kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, it's most of the guys aren't thinking, and a lot of guys in the industry, especially when they're starting out, they're not thinking about brand and marketing and imaging. They're thinking about, how do I get enough sales right now, today, with very little, with a business card and bifenthrin and a B&G sprayer to get going, because I'm gonna. I got to feed the family, and I just took this huge gamble with no real business knowledge, and that's
Sure.
that's one of the biggest challenges that we have. Anybody pretty much went from technician to solo operator, is having them understanding that you have to have a marketing and a brand strategy, whatever that is, whether it's local, independent, whether you're the only guy that's going to ever be running that. For the longest time, to go back to this, for the longest time, I thought 2 men in a truck were local guys here in Miami.
Right.
I didn't know I didn't know they were a franchise for the longest time. So, that's pretty cool. Until then I read, hey, you can get a franchise. And I'm like, oh, that's just brilliant. That was just brilliant marketing, branding themselves as a local guy who does moving with a white truck and very low budget. It just, the whole branding and marketing behind that was just brilliant. And
I was in the same boat. I didn't realize that. I thought it was just a local business until I moved into an apartment 7 years ago. My next door neighbor was a franchisee, and he told me all about how it was set up. So it's
So that thinking about that stuff, and thinking about this stuff, and thinking about, hey, should I get one of these? It all something you need to really sit down and analyze and think about for your long-term strategy of what you're going to do. And I honestly have thought about it forever, honestly. And I said, how would I do it? And I never looked into, because, it's like, hey, everything's going well. I'm growing at 26% a year. I'm spending 2.87% on marketing. Everything is hunky dory, and I'm fine. But I realize now that I know that I'm going to start hitting that wall of growth based on the growth rate that we have. And I got to start looking at thinking 6 months, a year down the line of what I'm doing marketing wise. And we're changing that up now. We had the discussion. I'm changing that up now to where we're going to be going into new areas of marketing to be proactive, because I don't want to hit a wall and then say, oh, darn, what am I going to do now? The phone is not ringing, because everybody's going to go through that. You're not going to go in perpetual growth with whatever strategy you have now for 5 years and expect nothing to change. That's just not realistic. And I know it, and I see it.
And that's the thing, is that, from the sales part of my essence here, is that, what I've seen is that businesses will grow, industries will grow. And the more an industry grows and your business grows, the more the competition grows.
Yeah.
And the more the competition grows, the more everyone's doing the same thing. So you always need to find new and creative ways to market your business and to capture new potential clients.
Right.
Now, the great thing is that everyone now is doing, digital and online.
Right.
And the funny thing is that, that's great. It does a lot for a business. A lot of people, some people will only, deal with, don't want to talk to anybody. But what we've found is that, the funny thing is the metrics and the stats prove and show that that 92% of customer interactions with a business are over the phone. That's more than 9 out of every 10 calls that you have, the interactions you have with your client, a prospect or an existing client, will be over the phone. Now, if the phone is the way that you're communicating the most with your clients, whether they found you on the website, on a Google search, on a billboard, however it is, most of the time the majority of the time they're going to be calling you. Whether they want to book you for a job, whether they want to get a price quote, whether they want to call and refer you over to somebody else, or they just want to call and yell at you. They're going to be on the phone, because people people want to hear a human voice. They want that human ass element of a business, especially if it's a home service like pest control.
Yeah.
Because these people, whether you think about this or not, and when you're on as a technician or an owner, you're being invited to someone's home when you go to do a job. And they want to be able to know that they can trust you, with
Right.
being in their home.
Oh yeah.
That you're not, and especially when you're going in there with chemicals that, the kids are going to be safe, the pets are going to be safe, that they're not going to worry about, after you leave with, that you did the job right, that that their families are going to be protected, from chemicals and also from the pests.
Right.
So there's that. And then, and then an interesting stat I found is that the conversation is shown to be the best way to convert a prospect to a client. That it actually has a 10 times conversion rate when compared to leads that were generated online. And I believe I was trying to wrap my head around that because everyone does Google searches,
Right.
But then I thought about it. When you go to a site for a business and you and it says book an appointment, you've got to navigate through the site. You've got to, if there's no phone number, like people get frustrated. They got to navigate through the site. They got to fill out their information. They got to hope they put it all in correctly. They got to wait for a response. Then they have to get a call from somebody. And then what's in that? Who knows how long that takes? If you dial a number, someone picks up, you're engaged. You're not going to lose out on someone getting frustrated and going to somebody else. So capturing and converting, although to some people it may seem too old school, it's something that's proven over the years, and it's still proven today. So, it just doesn't make sense to not spend a little bit of money for the potential of massive growth for your business. And when I say massive, I mean in relative terms to what you've spent.
Right. Right. No, definitely. We're doing the online thing, trying to convert customers online for pest control. 99.9% either pick up the phone and call us right off of there. They don't even go to our site. They don't read anything. They just call us. I mean, I ask them, did you, were you at our website? How did you find us? I found you on Google, but they found me on the map, in the 3-pack. They didn't even go to the website. The conversions right now, we've been at it for, I think, well over three months now. And we've gotten one conversion online. Of course, that's going to change in the future. More and more people are going to buy online. But yeah, you're right. It is primarily still phone. And then after that, pretty much the relationship is on text. Very little email is being used. So we're if we're like phone, text, email. That's been our trend that I've been able to track and all that. So yeah, you're right. I mean, it's still and you don't consider it because again, we're so busy. We're doing other things. It's not top of mind awareness about a phone number, a vanity number. People have their own personal feelings. Here's another one. When we do marketing and sales, you bring your personal feelings. I don't like vanity numbers. I like the number because I want to be able to dial it. That always confuses me when it's pest and I got to figure it out on my phone. It's more about being memorable and you'll figure it out. But because you don't like it, it doesn't mean it doesn't work and other people don't like it.
Sure. So, I mean, if someone that would say, I don't like vanity numbers because maybe they think they're cheesy, maybe they just don't believe in it, for whatever the reason may be. Some people just don't want to believe in something. Yeah. Just for the sake of not believing, or they just think of an image issue, and that's fine. What I would say to that person is, then that's fine. Get an easy to dial pattern number. And when I say that, there are so many different kinds of easy dial patterns that you can even market. Whether it's numbers, phone numbers that are all 8s. I don't know if you're familiar in the New York market. There's Cellino and Barnes, injury attorneys. And they have been the one of the 2 most successful injury attorney law firms in New York State for the past decade or so. They changed their number to the Dial the 8s campaign, where it's Cellino and Barnes injury attorneys 1-800-888-8888.
Right.
And everyone knows that. Everyone knows it's Dial the 8s for Cellino and Barnes. If you want to. Like for pest control, you could do an all zeros number. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's called a million number. Those are kind of pricey, but zero out the pests. You could do some sort of marketing campaign around it.
Right.
And it's not a vanity phrase. It's just an easy dial number.
Right. So you can do 305 305-000. So it's easy.
You could do 305-86 or
Nope, I lost you there.
Your pest problem.
Repeat that again, because I lost you for like 30 seconds.
Sure. I was saying you could even do something where the last four numbers are 8686, and you could make your marketing have like a little catchphrase, 86 your pest problem.
Got it. Okay. So so it's not just the name, but you can get an easy to remember sequence of numbers that people can just easily, if they drove by your vehicle, they can memorize that.
Yeah, or you could do 305, 300, 3000. We could there's so many different ways and different price ranges to give you options on what's available to you to market your business phone number. And there's so many ways for you to incorporate it. Like I'll listen. We're not trying to say make the phone number your primary marketing initiative, but it's, I like to think of it as you've got, 5 lug nuts on a tire. You're not going to tighten 4 of them and drive off with a loose one, right?
No, it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. What I like to think of is at least tighten that last lug nut. Make sure that your wheel's not going to fall off or your tires won't rattle. Make sure that you have stability to your whole program, and that last little tightening of the lug nut's the phone number.
Yeah, especially when you deal with it all the time. You're right. I mean, people I make sure that our number's on the back of the truck and it's big, and we get calls from that. We don't get calls from the side. When we had an accident, we noticed it. We had an accident in one of our vehicles. We didn't replace the branding in the back. The call stopped, and we were getting calls from people being in traffic. So that back number. While somebody's behind you, more than when people are just driving by you on the side. That's when we noticed we got the numbers, we got the calls, and we saw those drop off when we had that accident, and people weren't calling because they weren't just driving by us. They were actually stuck in traffic behind us. So that makes a lot of sense. Anything that I haven't thought about asking you about a phone number that you said, oh, this is like really interesting, nobody thinks about this one, kind of thing?
Well, just one other thing I wanted to circle back to about franchising that I forgot to mention. When you have a vanity number for your franchise, let's say you don't set it up where everything's channeled into a toll-free number and then distributed to everything, where each franchise owner has their own, is taking their own inbound calls. To have consistency from franchise to franchise and market to market, I feel is invaluable to a franchise operation. It shows professionalism.
Right.
It shows consistency of brand.
Yep.
And it allows customers, because people move all the time. And if you have a customer that leaves Florida and goes to Colorado, you as a franchise owner, like as a franchise operation headquarters, you're still making revenue no matter where a customer goes. So although your local franchise owner, the franchisee in Florida, may be losing that customer because they're moving, as the franchise operation of the brand, you want to make sure that when that person goes to another market and they need that service, they know who to call.
Right.
So that's also another important thing, is that it gives you consistency. Like when people know that, hey, I can just dial this number that ends in pest when I go to this new market, and I can have the same company that provided me this great service. That's huge, you know?
Right. No, that consistency in franchising, the whole issue of a consistent, reliable, predictable product is what's key. And that's the success of franchises, is providing that, reliable, predictable product, no matter where they go. And if you can't do that, then you're going to lose that game very quickly.
Right. And then from the local aspect, vanity numbers, show that, in comparison to just a regular old phone number dished out by your carrier, that there's, when you go from from a regular number to a vanity number or an easy dial number, it shows that there's an average of between a range of 30 to 50% in increased response rates for inbound calls. So, if you just see what you're taking on inbound calls, if you have a regular number, and just figure that out. Say, hey, we'll take the low end, say 30%. What would 30% more calls coming in be every month? And then you have to figure, then you can look back and say, okay, historically, what's my closing percentage? What's my conversion rate of inbound calls?
Right.
And then you just extrapolate that out. You say, okay, so now I apply that to increase that number by 30% and look at the overall revenue of what your average sale has been from month to month and say, okay, if I'm increasing 30% of my inbound calls and I'm converting my average conversion rate of those additional 30%,
Right.
and it's an average of this much revenue per deal sold, deal converted, how much in revenue does that increase my overall?
Oh,
and that's where you get to see what the value of a small investment could be.
Yeah, I remember days and weeks and months where we would get one call a day, and then we went to 5 and 10 and 12, that starts to make a big difference when you say, hey, can I get 3 more calls, and maybe convert one of them, because we got a 33% conversion rate.
Sure.
That makes a huge difference. Those numbers make a difference, even for the little guy who's doing, he's only getting 1 to 3 calls a day. So yeah, man. So how do people get a hold of you to get to talk to you about this product?
My direct line is 914-200-0025. That's Andrew at RingBoost, and you can email me at andrew@ringboost.com. RingBoost. I am available Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, and after hours, you can email me. I'll give you my cell number.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, cool, Frank. I appreciate you having me on today.
No, man, this has been very educational. I loved it.
No, great. Hopefully we can do it again soon.
All right, man. You take care. You have a great one. And I'll have this up tomorrow.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thank you, Andrew. Take care, brother.
All right, enjoy your day.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the Pest Geek Podcast. If you have enjoyed the Pest Geek Podcast, please give us a rating, write a review, or subscribe to the channel. You can join the Pest Geek Society by visiting pestgeekpodcast.com. Thank you for listening. See you next time.